So as you can see here, the room and board for one day is 1,200 pesos. Drugs and medications that were administered by the hospital itself was 328 pesos, and 76 was it centavos, pennies basically. In American terms, the operating room fee was 60 pesos. Supply was 1,087.92. The business office that they have their fee of 710 pesos. The OB surgery was for 5 pesos basically, which came up to 3,392 pesos. Then you have your professional fee for the doctors and everything else, which was 20,000 pesos. So the total was for the minutes for my wife was 23,400 pesos. But when you check in, you have to do a down payment of 10,000 pesos. So for the balance due, it was 13,400 pesos. But upon the birth of your child, you have to go back and register again for a new patient. However, there is no down payment with this one when they do it that way. So as you can see here, the total bill was 9,300 pesos. Again, they charge you 875 pesos for room and board for the kid that was just born. I whatever, because it's pretty much stays in the same room with the mother the whole time. Again, they have their diagnostics, their medicines here, which is 804 pesos for medication, 2,000 for diagnostics. And then another 400 on top of that, and again another credit. The office, another 580 pesos, another 1,030 over that, 40 pesos for another total of 5,779 pesos. Again, you have the medical doctor's fees on top of that, coming out to the 9,278 pesos. So as you can see, for around 30,000 pesos, let's see, was it 32,000 pesos? You can have your child born here in the States. That is just absolutely amazing. In the States, you cannot even pay your deductible for that. It's just absolutely ridiculous how cheap it is. Obviously, if you have like the C-section or whatever, it's going to be more costly. I've heard up to about 125,000 pesos. I'm not sure how true that is, but that is what I've heard said. We were at the hospital a couple of times, and our friends are currently pregnant. So they have said the same thing. So 32,000 pesos at the current rate of today is $612.84. The current exchange rate, I'm looking at the computer here, says 52.22 pesos to the $1 US. So it is cheap here, obviously, to have a birth here and have your child born here. I absolutely had no problems with any of the medical staff. They all seem to me like they know what they're doing. They're very caring at the Silliman, and as from what I understand, our doctor and the hospital we used is actually considered expensive. There's other hospitals around here which are cheap, but that's where we started everything. So we finished everything at Silliman. We still go there for his pediatrician. So yeah, absolutely. If you're here and you're pregnant, or you're going to come here and get pregnant, I would not worry about any of the medical staff or any of the medical procedures for a birth here. I think everything is just as equally efficient as it would be in the States. I'm sure in the States they probably have a few more technological advances in machinery if there is complications, but as far as a quote-unquote normal or somewhat normal birth like a C-section, I really don't think there is any difference in my personal opinion. Like I said, personal opinion for that, but yeah, it is quite inexpensive to have a child here in the Philippines. I mean, $613. I mean, who can do that? The only downside here, compared to being in the U.S. hospital, is they do not supply everything like in the hospitals. I had to run to the pharmacies to go get medications, and also when it comes into the check-in procedure, unlike in the States where you have office staff or a nurse or whoever that come to the office, they bring their computer, or usually a lot of hospitals have computers already in the room. They take your information, they do all the documentations, they do all the signing right there in the room with you. Very convenient. In the Philippines, that's not true. You have to go back down to administration. You have to go to their business office to make payments. There's a lot of running back and forth. So definitely, you want to have, your significant other, friends, family with you when you go in to do all that running for you. Only downside, but it's really not too inconvenient to get it done. It's fairly fast. For the most part, relatively speaking. Of course, it's the Philippines, but yeah, it's absolutely, I see no difference in healthcare as far as the birthing process goes. You all have a wonderful day.